Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to talk about pushing Ilford Delta 400 film, so make sure you stick around for that. So if you remember from my last video, I talked about pushing Ilford's HP5 400 film and my sort of quest to find a film that I can shoot around the house handheld without having to use a tripod, so that I could just take everyday pictures of my family and for memories down the road. And I don't like a lot of grain, and I don't want high contrast for the subjects that I'm shooting, you know, just my fiance, my pets, my mom, things like that. It's just for everyday things. I'm not looking for like a dramatic look. So I'm continuing that quest today, and today I'm going to talk about pushing Ilford Delta 400 film. And even if you're not on a quest and looking for the specifics that I'm looking for, hopefully this can help you in some type of way. Maybe you want to see what it looks like to push Ilford Delta 400 film to 1600 and 3200. That's what I'm going to be pushing it to. So let's get to it. I'll just show you my results. Alright, first off is this picture of my cat Midnight. As you can see, like her name says, she is very dark black, so she's difficult to take a picture of because she tends to look like a black blob. So again, if it's a high contrast film, she's not going to show up too well. So far, the best film that she shines in is has been Ilford Delta 3200 shot at 1600 speed. I really liked the way she looked in that, and that was because shooting it at 1600 and developing it at 1600 for some reason lowered the contrast, whereas pushing this Ilford Delta 400 to 1600 adds contrast, so she becomes very dark. You lose a lot of the detail in her face and her body. So here's a picture of my avocado pit sprouting. I'm trying to grow another tree. If you follow my blog, you'll see the progress I've been posting. Even on my Instagram, I've been posting the progress for that. So this was when it was a little baby and it was just beginning. But you can see that at 1600, the background is still pretty dark. You can't really see the darkness underneath the cabinets in the kitchen behind the avocado sprout, and I'll show you later at 3200 that allowed me to shoot different shutter speeds and to make it a little brighter. Here's my fiance. I really like the skin tones in this. I like that there's not a lot of grain in the skin tones. I showed in the Ilford Delta 3200 video when I took pictures of Kelsey, there was grain everywhere, grain all over her face, and while some people really like that, that's just not what I like in these types of pictures. So I really like this. I like this shot of her. I like that it's soft and there's a lot of tones of gray, so it's got good tonal range. So here's a picture of some ornaments that were on our Christmas tree, and you can start to see the grain. When you look at the ornaments themselves, you could start to see that there's grain, or even in the background of the tree. That's something that wasn't really on HP5 when I pushed it. So I do notice that the Delta film, although it doesn't have maybe as much contrast as HP5, it does have a lot more grain once you start pushing it. Here's some sunlight coming in through the window onto our couch. I was testing it in different lighting situations. See, here's a very contrasty picture. It's a lamp in my room shining light onto my Ansel Adams calendar, and obviously there would be a lot of contrast in this picture because it was very dark in there, and then there's just the stark contrast of the light coming from the lamp, but it did hold up, and I was able to do it handheld. Here's a picture I took outside. This is some birds flying over Barnes & Noble. I like to, even though I'm pushing the film to shoot it indoors, I do like to test it outside as well. And it wasn't bright out. The sun was going down at this point. Here's a picture of some books at Barnes & Noble. This was taken completely indoors, so you can see that it allowed me even to take pictures handheld inside of a store. Obviously there's good lighting in a store, and here's another picture of the cafe at Barnes & Noble, but you do see the grain on the ceiling and in the walls. You can see the grain. And here's our feet. We had to take a rest. I was kind of in pain walking around the store. And then here's Barnes & Noble sign outside. So the sun was going down at this point, but you can see everything is still nice and bright. Here's a picture of the books through the door. Here's a picture of a Taco Bell. This was as we were leaving. I took this picture from the car to test that out, test it in moving conditions. And then we went to Target. Here's some mannequins. I really like the way the mannequins came out in the film. It looks really cool. It looks like a picture from like a 90s catalog, especially since all the clothes look like the 90s these days. So then here's a picture at night in the parking lot. It was now completely dark. The only light was the street lights. At this point I was sitting in my wheelchair, so I wasn't walking, but the camera was still handheld. And here's a picture of some sunglasses sitting. Somebody had broken them and then left them in their parking space. Here's Frankie. He's another subject that's hard to photograph because he's the opposite of Midnight. He's very, very white. He tends to be blown out, like it looks like the sun is shining on him when it's not. So he's difficult to take a picture of and to get all the tonal range of his fur. Frankie sitting with Kelsey at work. And here's Frankie in the doorway. Again, this was a dark situation. I wanted to test it out. See this picture of Frankie giving me a dirty look. You can see that he's pretty much blown. The side of his face is blown out. And then Jasmine begging me to let her come on the bed. And then here you can see the avocado again. This is outside on my porch with a little bit of sunlight. You can see it's starting to grow there. It's got some leaves. So that's it for pushing it to 1600. So next I pushed it to 3200. So let's pull up some of those pictures. Now here's a picture of the avocado again, and this one for some reason has an extreme amount of grain, which reminds me a bit of Kodak's P3200 film, or even Delta 3200. I guess that's obvious. I don't know if pushing Ilford Delta 400 to 3200 is the same as Ilford Delta 3200 film. I don't know if it's the same thing. Maybe someone can let me know. But it definitely has the same amount of grain. Here's Kelsey sitting in here with me in my office. And her skin tones definitely have more grain than they did at 1600. Here's the avocado sitting on my counter. It's getting big. I got almost a tree growing in my house now. But see, this is the picture I was talking about earlier, that at 3200 it allowed me to shoot lighter pictures, so I was able to get the background in, whereas at 1600 the background was still dark. And you can really see the grain in these pictures, so I'm not really sure if I would shoot with this film again at 3200. This one's not too bad. It really depends on the lighting situation, I guess. Here's the Chase Lounge. This was at night with just the overhead light on, and this is an ornament on our tree, and again, it's very dark. It didn't seem to hold up in very, very dark situations like other film stocks did for me. So at this point they start to just look underexposed because I pushed it to the limits handheld that I could, and it just looks underexposed because of that, because I couldn't shoot any slower. So that's it. Basically, I think this film, it's $7.99 a roll for a 35mm roll, and HP5 is only $5.99. So I think if I had to choose between the two for what I'm looking for my specific needs, I would probably grab for the HP5 first because it's cheaper and it doesn't have as much grain as the Ilford Delta 400 does when you push it. I'm still going to continue to push other film stocks. I have a list of film that I'm going to try out before I make my mind up, and then in the end I'm probably going to do a head-to-head with my final favorites and then finally choose one, and that'll be the film that I shoot with indoors at home every day. So if you want to stay tuned for that, make sure you hit that subscribe button. It helps me out, and I hope this helped you in any way. If you guys are looking for a film to push yourself, I hope this helped, giving you some examples of what it looks like at both those speeds. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button if you've made it this far. It helps me out. If you want to help out the channel in any other way, I have a contribution page that'll be linked down in the description. You can contribute in different ways, and I really appreciate anything you can do. And yeah, that's it. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you stay tuned for some more to come, because I got a lot more to come. And until next time, stay motivated and keep shooting.